Supporters of the man blamed by the Turkish government for last week's attempted coup have been targeted by threats and abuse right here in London. And it's been said that there's a risk of the other troubles in Turkey being imported here too. The Mevlana Rumi Mosque in Edmonton supports cleric Fethullah Gulen, who's been blamed for the uprising, although he denies having any involvement. Well, Uzcan Kelesh is the chairman of the Dialogue Society, a Hizmet-inspired charity in London, and joins me now. Good morning, Uzcan.
Good morning, Nikki. Hi.
Were you at the mosque when this happened?
No, I wasn't at the mosque, but I was informed of it afterwards.
So what exactly happened? Talk us through it.
Well, soon after the coup kicked off in Turkey at the late hour, I think about 8, 9 p.m. UK time, a group of men came to the mosque. Some of them stayed out. They opened the Turkish flag, and some of them went in. And at this point, the worshippers were just finishing and concluding the last prayer of the day. And they started to hurl abuse at the worshippers, insulting them and accusing them of siding with the coup plotters and things of that nature. They then went away, and then within the next hour, they came back with 5, 6 vehicles, and started circulating, driving around the mosque, sounding their horn and shouting at people. And then shouting and talking amongst themselves in a way that people within the mosque could hear, that they would torch the mosque. And then since then, there have been death threats to the mosque. There have been calls, hate mail. So there's all kinds of things that are happening around the mosque because it's quite central, and it's in people's. It's where people know Hizmet participants to be. But also, I myself received a text message to my personal mobile phone, which isn't public, signed off by the Angel of Death, making accusations and threats. And that same text message has been circulated to a number of people.
What did it actually say?
Well, it was making the same accusations that, this coup was done by, the supporters of Gulen and so forth, and that as a result, we should be aware and we should be careful. And it was signed off by the Angel of Death, and a second signature said it's the MIT, Turkish Intelligence Forces, UK Special Operations.
And do you think it is?
I don't think it is. I think it's a simple-minded person doing this, but it's simple-minded people that can go ahead and commit crime. But the other thing is that there appears to be a concerted effort by the Turkish government to demonize us and to export Turkey's problems into the UK. And this is what really hurts us, because when that coup happened, we bled with Turkey. We bled with the people, with the citizens there that got shot. We condemned this coup attempt as much as anybody else. We had nothing to do with it, but we are being demonized here in London and made to feel for our lives, made to feel threatened. For the first time, we've had to lock the mosque in between prayers. We've never had to do that. And this is a mosque, let's remember, it's called the Rumi Mosque. Rumi, who said, come, whoever you are. We're all about embracing dialogue, talking, law-abiding citizens. And the irony of the situation is we're being, attacked for a heinous, condemnable act in Turkey that we have nothing to do with.
So you are fearful for your life. You've had a death threat. Yep. People who use the mosque are presumably very afraid for what might happen, further attacks. Who's protecting the mosque? What are the police doing?
We've spoken to the police. Obviously, the police, it takes time for them to register that this is not a local incident and that there is an international dimension. The press have picked up on this, and that has helped to get the police to appreciate the gravity of the situation. Obviously, there's lots of things happening. So, for example, there's now messages circulating in social media and other forms that are calling on UK residents to report, again, UK residents that are sympathetic to Hizmet, to the Turkish intelligence services. So there are messages that give the contact details for the Turkish presidential hotline and the Turkish intelligence services and whatnot. And it says, if you have a friend, if you know somebody that supports the Hizmet movement, report them. So, it's utterly unbelievable that this is being sent to UK residents. People's shops, shopkeepers, ordinary grocery stores that you and I go and buy bread and whatnot from, their shop fronts are being snapshots are being taken, pictures are being taken, and being circulated on social media and saying, this is a terrorist supporting businessman. Do not shop here. So the more this information comes through, obviously the police and now Scotland Yard, I think, are becoming more aware of the situation. But what we need is for the FCO to step in. We need our Foreign Office to step in. We need the Home Office to step in and to say, whatever happens in Turkey, that is one issue, but we do not import these problems into our communities here. That's the last thing we need.
Özcan, thank you so much for talking to us this morning. Perhaps you'll stay on the line to hear Fayaz Mogul, who is the founder and director of Tell Mama. Fayaz, good morning to you.
Good morning.
How and what do you make of what's happening at the moment, first of all?
Well, clearly there is an issue of, as Özcan had suggested, of the issue of the issue in Turkey being imported into the UK. I mean, we have seen some of those text messages. Again, Özcan has been very active in trying to get those messages to us. And then the issue of the Rumi Mosque and other mosques, actually, which have been targeted, raise the concerns for us that this kind of issue is clearly being instigated and clearly being targeted towards UK residents and members who are part of this Hizmet movement.
Can you just tell us a bit about the Hizmet movement and why so many people might be against it?
Well, I mean, predominantly the Hizmet movement is quite well organised, but its primary organisation is around educational establishments. It provides schools, it provides education to individuals who may not have it, but its predominance, its main foundation is really about dialogue, engagement, interfaith work, and really about multi-faith action. Now, granted, it came out from Gulen, who is in the US, but actually, there's been no sense of threat within the UK in this movement. In fact, it's been very open in trying to engage with other faiths. Clearly, the Turkish scenario means that it is seen by the government in Turkey and by Erdogan as being a threat. And now that has, in a way, instigated the government of Turkey to take action. The problem is that here in the UK, this movement has achieved a great deal, and it's not a problem, but it's achieved a great deal in terms of its interfaith work, but it has done nothing or not been involved in any action in Turkey, and the bleed over of what's happening in Turkey into the UK is really concerning.
Why do people take on these causes? Why is there a bleed over? What's the psychology there?
Well, the psychology there is effectively people are feeling energized because the coup has failed. And thankfully, I mean, I'm one who believes that coups are the worst thing any country needs. So I'm in no sense in favor of such issues. And I'm glad that the Turkish democratically elected government has stood its ground. The fact of the matter is people are feeling energized, and they're feeling energized, but somebody is instigating these kind of actions in the UK. And certainly there is a nationalistic streak that is running right the way through this campaign, and also which is playing on the nationalism of people in the Turkish diaspora community. That sense of nationalism, of protectionism, of actually wanting to protect Turkey's institutions is turning, or is being used to turn against, effectively, this group. And so there is a sense of nationalism that's running through. But, you know, I would say that anyone who plays on a sense of nationalism is playing with fire, because these issues can ignite very quickly.
Fayaz Mogul, thank you so much for your time and your insights this morning, founder and director of Tell Mama.